Hello everyone, I'm Rob Smith, Smith in the Black here, and if it's Tuesday, it's a Strat Attack show, so we can hop into the urban assault vehicle and see what's going on here. So, a few things happened today, or going on. So, one of the things you want to know about is when things occur matters. So you've heard the term turnaround Tuesday. Well, and I'll tell you every time that things turn around all the time, right? And so what you want to be able to look for here, depending on when it is going to see here, this was a Monday. Yesterday was a Monday, and it was up. And then we broke yesterday's lows to the downside. That's a 2 up, 2 down reversal. And you want to know about that because you can get this kind of nice little hit here, and it also changes the continuity of the week back to red. Now you can see now it's just back to doji doing nothing. We got some of those issues going on too. We're also having an outside week last week, which means it's a broadening formation on a shorter time frame, which on the daily is this in here where you get the higher highs and the lower lows. So you also have a broadening formation here because if this is a 2-day pattern, these two would be an outside bar of that. So then you get onto your 60 and you see this, the higher high and the lower low, and then right back into the middle of the range. So that's a bit of an issue. We're coming into a Tuesday or a Wednesday here. We got a lot of earnings. We also have the end of the month. So the question now is going to be, are we closer? Are things closer to taking out the highs of the month or the lows for next month? Definitely closer to taking out the highs again, and we just keep two on our way up here so far. Well, we want to stay aware of this outside week, all right, because that's a broadening formation. If you start racing back through there, that's something you're going to want to know about, because if you go to QQQ, a little worse, but you got some earnings, big boy earnings out tonight, Apple and Microsoft and Google, and so we'll see how that affects that, but you want to know when you're back into this outside bar, right, because if they paid up and sold down, they might do it again, right? So we're definitely going to be paying attention to that. If you go to the daily, got hit a little harder here, and you can see that once again. A lot of things did this, right? That's something you'd want to know about. At the 2 up on the Monday, then 2 down on Tuesday. Boom. These two became an outside bar of these two. So the question is going to be weak enough to come back through here, or does it hold this upper level formation like so, right? So good chance at inside day here. And so that's a bit of an issue, even with all these earnings, because if you look at even these big boy earnings, Apple's closer to taking out the lows, and so that would continue this, taking out some pivots, because people who are long are going to be long against all this stuff here, 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 here. We know that, right? So a lot of that are probably going to be more blah, blah, blah conference calls and all that kind of stuff. But certainly something I'd want to know about, especially coming back into last week's range here. So if we go to Google, and once again, the outside week, but then look at this daily. So you get hit, but then rages back in, and so how are you going to get outside of that, right? That's what we want to know about. We want to be able to, how do you get outside of that, and do you stay out, right? AMD here, stuck in the middle of the daily range, so you could have all these earnings come out and still be inside days, right? So a little challenging here, and that's why we're kind of jumping around to where we see things happening. And so one of the things you want to know, you want to keep an eye on is like when the market starts to come in a bit, like it did here, you want to see if they're taking everybody down or not, right? And so we continue to see is the market comes in and they go into a defensive posture and they'll go buy utilities. So it's not really any big panic or anything, and on a monthly basis, nowhere near any trouble. And I believe I've drawn this for you, and let's take a look. This is why I like to draw the tries. Keep them up for you. Oh, nice shooting text. So now we'll see if it gets through there. It's right on the line of the Rev Strat month here, and so whenever the market goes down, you want to check the XLU and VNQ REITs, defensive, and sometimes the towers, AMT, and all these guys. See, these guys are still going up, inside day to the upside, and XLP. Are they hitting XLP? Nope. That gives you your Procter & Gamble's and stuff like that. So outside of that, like I said, we're going to be waiting on a lot of earnings, and then we'll have a macro video come out this weekend talking about the new the macro signals that are enforced. Most things on the macro are still to the upside, right? So as much as this might scare you, this might scare you because you're not used to the market going down very much, except for last week, which is QQQ. Like I said here, this is a Monday, 2 up, and then 2 on the Tuesday. What happened last week? 2 down on a Monday, 2 up reversal. So just by simply knowing that the importance of that, you certainly can get a lot done, especially when it's almost everything. We call it a simultaneous break. Almost everything was going 2 up on last Tuesday, right? 2 down, 2 up. Today, a lot of things were doing this, and it was heavily tech related, so you knew exactly where to go. So just a few that we'll look at here, keep on the radar. Repligen, and just have an inside month to the upside, a little bit more for all-time highs here to 228.83. Not too much left on that, but sometimes they keep it going. If we go to Visa, is just slightly inside up on the week, not doing too much, and you have MA still doing nothing on the week, but it is inside month and up if anything goes on over there, because we got some Fed coming tomorrow. So financials, we'll see if anything comes of that. Allstate doji month, and so that's why you want to have multiple time frames up, because Allstate does this very slightly inside week to the upside. But as you get into the end of the month, or any time frame really, if you get to the end of the day, you don't want to be trading something that's doing this. That's nothing. It's just doing nothing. And so at the end of the month, that's why you can run certain scans, but you want to make sure that you're checking all your time frames to make sure something's actually doing something. So you do have Pfizer still inside month and up for a few more days. DG as well. And then on the downside, we still have a few more days. We've seen some weakness in INCY in the bios, and this is a RevStrat 1, 2, 2 coming back through all these guys, because the bios have been a little weak, but as you can see in the month, doing nothing. That's doing nothing, right? So you see, like, if you're just going to a daily, you'd be like, ooh. But then when you go back to the monthly, it's actually doing nothing. But you do have INCY as a RevStrat month to the downside. Of course, we got these China names getting hit. NIU here with the inside month to the downside. Baidu is also inside month to the downside with BABA. However, you're going to see some of these things that got hit pretty hard, and you got 1, 2, 3 gaps and closing closer to the highs. So we wouldn't be surprised to see a little BABA relief 2-2 tomorrow, and you can keep an eye on JD and NTES. Also came back. Futu not so fortunate, going out back towards the lows. So we'll see if there's anything that comes of that. But you always want to keep all these things in mind when you're making your decisions, and watching the sector rotations. Are they really going to take everything down? Looking at the monthlies and saying, how bad is it? I mean, what would it take to make this look bad here? Well, you'd have to be closer to going 2 to the downside, first of all. But you have a new month, and so you could have time frame counters switch to the downside to do that. But you don't have that yet, not till next week. Looks like Apple's coming in here a little bit, so we'll see. Obviously, there's going to be conference calls and blah, blah, blahs and all that kind of stuff until the morning. And so we'll take a look at the morning and make sure you're looking at those multiple time frames. Make sure you're not going to get chopped up in an inside day. All right, that's going to do it for this week. I'm Rob Smith of Smith in the Black with Strat Attack Show.